Welcome. I'm so glad that you can join me here today for another reading. September 23rd, 2023. And my name is Reverend Maria Arvanitidis. Our last reading was for the month of August and September. And now, welcome to our fall and in some other places, spring equinox. And I will be reading for 3 months, October, November, December. And these 3 months of our equinox right into the solstice, let's see what we have in store. And with that said, this oracle card reading will be commenced with Izzy Ivy's oracle card reading and guidebook on Beyond Lemuria. And these cards will be shuffled, and what is it that we have to look at in the sense of these next few months? Oh my goodness, these cards. Let's try to shuffle them, let's try to bend them and work them in, and let's get all crazy on them. Okay. Let's continue on to bend them and mold them until something falls out. Oh yeah, now we're getting a few. Oh yeah. Just bear with me as I do this shuffling. And as I do shuffling, I'm trying to work these in so that I can somehow one day be able to do a better shuffling. If I stand up now, how do I do this? And if they start falling over on the other side, oh my goodness. So, just, the sun is kind of heating this up. Here we go. I think that I'm a little bit here on the slow side. It's a little bit of a delay, it looks like, on the video here. And I'm still shuffling. And so for this month so I'll just pick something here. I'll pick one, two. We'll be using this booklet here to kind of go through. And so for the month of, now that we're in the 23rd, let's do the month of October, shall we? The month of October, it says Journey to Wholeness. Journey to Wholeness, number 33. Is that right? So I have to go over here. Number 33. Journey to Wholeness. And as it says here, self-acceptance, wholeness, unconditional love, soul fragments, returning, accepting others as they are, staying energetically present, accepting all parts of self, and healing internal disease. So as we go through the month of October, this journey to wholeness, traditional Japanese painters do not paint the eyes of a deity before the rest of the body, as they say this is the element that brings it to life. But for this image, this image that was drawn, the experience, was created deep into the night, and no matter how hard the person tried in drawing this, they could not put a paintbrush down And it was 3 a.m. when they coaxed away, and as they stepped back and burst into tears, they were deeply upset at the being that had come alive on the canvas, and being this here. So this canvas held a half-formed being, part woman and somewhat octopus. She was troubled. The process she was in was quite disturbing to her. After doing a clearing, she was able to sleep. The next morning, her housemaid inquired what had happened in the night as these pictures were falling off the walls. So in any event, amongst them all this intense longing to whole again, because she was so fragmented and all, and so the hybrid form with disease and a sense of being outcast. It is understood that hybrids started appearing toward the end of the Lemurian epoch as they were densifying, and the Atlantean mind-based intellect interfered with the ebb and flow of Lemurian ways, though this is not what caused their demise. Yeah, I think we're going back into the vaccinated season, where people are going to continue on this hybridization, and the food and everything that we've been consuming, and the animals now who are vaccinated. Especially, I would not recommend anybody to eat pork anymore. The card is about loving yourself and others from a sense of wholeness, no matter what their choice and decision and what they came here to do. You see? Their decision, and it is only from this space that healing can take place. Accept everybody and respect them for their choices, and let's all love on one another, see the best light and potential that we have to offer, and engage with each other. And we may find ourselves in relationships or scenarios where we can see great potential. We may have concepts of others that are not really who they are due to subconscious projections or ideals. However, we could have the idea that we will feel better about ourselves when we achieve a goal or status, that success will somehow make everything better. Has it? Unfortunately, this takes us out of the present and makes our love somewhat conditional. So to be a healer, transcend the perspective that the being in front of you needs to be fixed, because nothing really needs fixing. And they just hold the vision that they are perfect as they are. Release all the judgments and all the perceived misconceptions of expectations. Like I mentioned before in one of my previous episodes, if you'd like to check out from the Sovereign Light, A Course in Metaphysical Spirituality, and next level stuff here. And so, to be a healer, and from this place, acknowledge the full spectrum of a picture and bring any fractured parts back to the present moment in that person. In this place, we are whole and thus have the power to step into the brightest version of ourselves. Here is the unique gifts for us in October is number 55. Number 55. Your superpowers. We're going into these superpowers. A sense of purpose. The meaning behind your quirks, exploring your interests, shortcomings as unique, undiscovered skills. I passionately believe in that what brings to the world your gifts, your talents, your abilities to enable the communities that you're part of, engaging with, and our planet as a whole, even on a galactic sense, and not just your universal field here. our shortcomings could be the key to your superpowers. Look for the positive sides of your oddities and traits. How? So, would you like to spend more time with yourself? Are there things you would like to try or feel a pull to explore? Now is the time in this month of October to follow these whispers. You never know how transformational they may be, right? So when there's enjoyment in what you do, you can give more to it, way beyond your usual capacity. It lights you up when you think or talk about it, right? And you need less in your life as you are fulfilled through doing it. When you don't do it, you might feel ungrounded or low in energy or even possibly depressed and going through a grieving process for the lack of your heart self-expression. And you know, the signature frequency that we hold and we want to vibrate and express out and inspire others and continue in this momentum of being inspired and inspiring and creating and co-creating, right? Well, how do you do this? To struggle with it. However, this nonlinear way of navigating reality in a way of deciphering thoughts from luminescent abstract images that amplified the more energy there was behind them, it was quite frustrating to feel we seem unintelligent at times. The words could muster felt inferior to the information that was experiencing, perhaps. So how do we put it all together? We just stop struggling, stop overcomplicating and overthinking things, and let those other struggles go. And whatever is trying to imprint upon you, release it, deflect it, reflect it. Use the mirrors. Learn to use the mirrors. Oh, yes. Go into this thing called the Sovereign Light, A Course in Metaphysical Spirituality. And once you read through the book, it will give you some spiritual tools, and one of them being that. Okay, so divinatory meaning. What makes you unique? Express it. Find those quirks within you. What makes you feel that desire, that passion, that drive? Well, sometimes it's your shortcomings. These are your, see, what are your superpowers? Own them. November. We're in full spectrum 26. So we can go on about what's going to happen. And yes, it's vaccine season. And yes, people will continue on with the hybridization. And yes, this also happened once before with the Lemurians and the Atlanteans. And here we're headed for a second run on what has happened already before. And we're experiencing it once again. And it's up to us to see how we can best deal with what we've already been through before. And we're heading into it again with the World Enlightenment Order and 42 different ways of seeing it, and the Enlightenment World Order of AI and all these other things, and the splitting the worlds. And now more than ever, the Bible is intensifyingly transparent about everything. Eventually, the Bible too will become obsolete once this experience is done and over with by 2045. We either wake up to ourselves, or whatever has been told will be again foretold and will continue to unfold in this manner. But we get to a certain level where even that guide is no longer, and we have to continue on in the best way that we can. And so let's go with number 26. Number 26 is full spectrum. Full spectrum the creating heaven on earth by honoring perfection of nature's cycles, going beyond the judgment of good and bad, the merging of duality, raw nature, earth wisdom connecting to ancestors' shadows as the fertile soil for exponential growth. So I have to make sure that it doesn't freeze. So for exponential growth, the way forward is in the whispering of the land, honoring the full spectrum of life. What does heaven on earth look like to you? Do you imagine lush green nature, ancient forests and pristine beaches, crystalline water systems, and all the planet's residents in full health, living in harmony with each other? And yet nature in its purest, rawest form is a balance of life and death, growth and decomposition, the eaters and the eaten. In one way or another, this is the natural flux of life. What does heaven on earth look like to you? Does it have an appearance like paradise? Or is it something that is of a vibratory feeling, a biological, natural way called magnetism? And we already live in Eden, but our efforts to own and segregate bring us further away from this paradigm. Power trips, the need for imagined security, fear or avoidance of these shadows that keep us out of our freedom, the ego mind. So these power trips, the need to preserve, the real disease, the need to preserve and hold on to tightly only stunts our growth and leaves us drowning in a sea of plastic. And this disease on earth, the barrier to Eden, is in our minds. Life happens, but it is our perception of good and bad and our black and white judgments that prevent us from seeing the grander duality. This duality, it becomes one, we will find Shambhala before us. So when we merge the good and bad and close the gaps of the opposites, the polarities, and when we close and cancel this illusion, we find Shambhala. And what is Shambhala is the inner earth from our solar plexus that we go inwardly to find. Perhaps we can find inspiration from nature and the animal kingdom even. Does the tiny frog, does it spend its days anxious over its vulnerable future? What happens when we realize fertile compost greets us when we allow ourselves to transmute our pain? When we honor all that came before our roots are nourished and we grow with more vitality, vibrancy, and life force. So it's a transformational time for some of us, really great if we honor and accept it in and we're ready on that frequency to raise and transcend onto another platform. What happens when we realize the keys to our future in the wisdom of the earth and the dreaming of the indigenous, that the answers are in the geometry of the macro and microcosm, the nurturing embrace of oneness in Mama Nature's arms? Or we go inwardly and still find it, no matter where we might be. That peace within the full spectrum of life. Even the notion of separation, this disease can be symbolized as no more than a blackened leaf on a healthy tree. The ebb and flow of our evolution and devolution is a temporary blip in the universe. This our ethereal holograph of genetic information, and then in collaboration with the galactics. It's a miracle that we're even here. And this step out of the black and white mentality of judgment. Go beyond the concepts of good and bad. This card invites you to honor the full spectrum of life and find a new way of perceiving your situation. When we judge something, we create a story around it. These stories often create limitations. Subconsciously, we gather so many of these stories over a lifetime to heal our disease and crystallize the new way we need to create a space of no story where miraculous healing can happen. This space empowers us to be all we are and allows us to know our truth. What is our own authentic, unique, signature vibration, that frequency? Can we express it? And what is it that's holding us back from expressing it? The message is to be what we can, to ground heaven on earth, but not out of fear. We often try to avoid or run from negative situations, but when fear steers our decisions and actions, far more devastating can result. When we choose to let our hearts lead us away from stories and outdated patterns, our challenges become the fertile compost that feeds our ascending tendrils as they reach to the heavens and ground its light back on earth. So moving right along, November is going to be very transformational. The Portal Keeper. The Portal Keeper is number 50. Yes, number 50. Number 50. Number 50 is unique gateways to mystical experiences, psychic ability, raising your vibration, expanded consciousness, the Akashic records, past life ties, exploring the edges of reality for significant messages, seeing between the lines, multidimensional awareness. So as we become more sensitive and aware, we are more receptive to mystical experiences. And these mystical experiences, these are going to be your own on a personal level. Okay, so we stopped again. It's overheating. And let's continue on to December. Okay, stepping through. Follow your heart, dream big, stepping through something that has been holding you back, the threshold, starting new projects, self-belief. It is all possible, the road less traveled. Trust. Can we trust? How well and how deep and how far can we go in a level of trust? Or is it as much as we've learned through our wisdom of experiences to gain discernment in that level of trust? Step in and step up all those dreams or projects you have been putting off. Now is the time to start, even if it is just one small element of the bigger picture, although just do it. So when you start something, talk about it, take consistent steps to actualize it, and you will see it take a momentum of its own. The right people, places, and opportunities will magnetize, and it will start to come together. Don't be afraid to fail. The success we see around us has come from perseverance. Falling and getting back up on your horse again is part of the journey. Focus your energies and commit to seeing your vision become a reality. So, what are you envisioning? Building a dream can seem overwhelming, but if you break it down and make a plan, you will gracefully find a way through. You might be able to manage most aspects of a project, and it is great to have an incentive to learn more skills, but it doesn't mean you need to do it on your own. Whatever you are aiming to achieve, there are people out there with the tools, skills, and energy you may be missing. Look at the bigger picture. Look at the big, and delegate. A mentor, people on a similar journey, or an accountability buddy can be wonderful supporters and allies. Following your dream is fulfilling and empowering, but as it is often a path less traveled, you may need to plot out your own course or invent a way through. So, are you a trailblazer? What you can do or dream, you can begin it. The time is now. No more excuses or tomorrows. Whatever you have been putting off, the universe is now pushing you to make it happen. You may feel a little outside your comfort zone, but that is where the magic happens. Don't put it off for next year's resolutions. The time is now, this month of December. Take a leap. Combine your intuition with a plan of action. Break it down and trust the puzzle will come together piece by piece through the courageous act of making a start of it. Wherever there's an end, there's a beginning. And this is the time. Come winter, from the summer to some people, but this is the time of the transition. And following your dreams is fulfilling and empowering, but as it is often a path less traveled. Also consider what kind of lifestyle you would like, and know this may change and evolve as you do. And let's continue on. The month of course, December. Number 4 is personal power, independence, self-discipline, confidence, assertiveness, decision-making, belief, intellectual abilities, expression of will, bringing ideas into reality. Remember that you are a powerful being who can connect with potent life force energy and when you need it. Be aware of what fuels your fire and consider circumstances. Consider circumstances. And inspire. Okay, so where you had your power away. Imagine all the fragments of your energy that you have given away at some point and bring them all back to the center of your being. The themes for this month of December is your power and where you are putting your energy. Healing position, the navel. Golden yellow. Okay, so the solar plexus. This is something you enter a space. Step away from playing small, unworthiness, the idea that you are taking up space and insecurity based on competitiveness. Allow yourself to be attuned to the abundant life force that resides within this center and be energized, motivated, fueled with inspiration, enthused, and clear-minded so you can bring forth more of yourself and what you wish to birth in the world. As you discover a deep and real sense of self-empowerment, you can more confidently lift others in celebration, harmonizing differences and shifting hierarchical paradigms into collective co-creation. And until next time, thank you so very much for joining me. And after the solstice, I will come up with another reading for the new year, 2024.